Incredible night. I also want to thank my daughter. My daughters, where are they? Come on up here, Emily. And where's Kate? Come on, Kate, come on up. And Adam, I'm bringing the girls up first. All right. And then Kevin, come on up. Everybody. You got it. All right. You know, we had a conversation about a year or so ago, and I said, you know, we're going to run for the United States Senate. It was a hell yes. Are you nuts? What does the Senate do? And she's an artist. She's an artist. And then Kevin was like, why would you do that? That sounds stupid. But here we are. You know, this is, for me, a family venture. You know, this is for my kids and grandkids and your kids and grandkids. This is what it's all about. So thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I also want to thank, we have an incredible, incredible team that was able to get us across the finish line. You know, I said a year ago the most important thing that I'll do is picking my team. And then the second most important thing I'll do is listening to my team. They pointed out the second one all the time. So I want to just acknowledge Colton, our political director. Great job, Colton. Our comms director. Reagan, our comms director. David DeStefano, our campaign manager. Susan and Abby, who probably called all of you many times. Where's Jane? Jane over there. It came on as an early intern. Thank you, Jane. And then where's Robbie? Robbie. There you go, Robbie. I also want to thank the team over Chris Grant's team and of course, the great Andy Sarabian, who I actually say to you, Andy Sarabian is actually an AI bot that's plugged into Massachusetts somewhere. But Andy, if you're listening, thank you so much for everything. I also want to thank President Trump. I just got off the phone with President Trump. And, you know, the reality is we have an opportunity now. We have an opportunity now to retire the old commie and send them to retirement home and then save this country. Because that's what we're going to do. And I want to thank President Trump for all he did for me, for this campaign, for his unwavering support, for his love of this country. Because I don't think I've ever seen somebody who loves this country the way he does. So thank you to President Trump. I also want to thank our unbelievable senator. J.D. Vance is an incredible senator, but you should know he's an even better person. And he's an amazing, amazing human being. So JD, thank you. You know, he put his heart and soul into campaigning with me. So JD, if you're watching, thank you so, so much, and thank your wife and kids. I also want to thank a lot of the leaders in Ohio, political leaders in Ohio. Jim Jordan, who I spoke to also recently, just a great, great man, great fighter, was with me from the beginning. Warren Davidson, of course, Max Miller, and our Attorney General. Thank you so much for your early support as well. Could not have done this without your support. Really, really appreciate it. I also want to congratulate my opponents in this race. You know, one of the things that we do as Republicans is we have spirited debates. Now, maybe it's like a little too spirited. Could have been a little less spirited, all right? But we have spirited debates, and that's okay. That's okay, because as of today, I also spoke to State Senator Matt Dolan. Matt congratulated me very graciously. And I think what we have to do now is, as a fully united party, understand we have one mission, which is to get rid of Sherrod Brown. And by getting rid of Sherrod Brown, we're going to get back to United States Senate, and then by getting back to United States Senate, we're going to put this country back on track, right? I also want to thank Frank LaRose for the service that he gave to our country. You know, as a Green Beret, he sacrifices for our country, and our country's better off as a result of the service that Frank has given to this nation. So thank you to Frank LaRose as well for running a good race. Now, let's talk about Sherrod Brown now. Isn't it great? We got to talk Sherrod Brown now. That's great. All right? Now, when I was a kid from South America and my family came over. By the way, I completely forgot. My God, I'm a terrible person. Jeez. My siblings, come on, all of you guys come up here. Come up here for a second. Come on up here. And the in-laws can come up too. Come up here. Thank you. Look at that. See, I told you we were high-performing Catholics. Look at all these people. All right, so this is, so 6 boys and a girl. They all live in different parts of the world, but you guys all came here today to be with me. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. What's that? Yep. So when we were first got to South Florida when I was a kid, I was 5 years old. I thought it was a field trip. I didn't know what we were doing. And I wanted to become a U.S. citizen really badly. That was something that was really important to me. Even though I thought it was kind of cool that I had a card that said I was an alien, I thought maybe I wanted to be a citizen. That would be better. And as you may have heard the story, I studied our founders and the Declaration of Independence and the Constitutional Convention. And it's amazing because in 1789, when Sherrod Brown went into D.C., I never thought we'd be here with him still in office. But, in all seriousness, so think about it. This guy's been in office since Richard Nixon was president. This guy's been in an elected office, never had a job in the private sector. And what does he do? He says he advocates for working class Americans. So let's dissect that for a second. Under Sherrod Brown's watch, China has gone from a $4 billion trade deficit to a $235 billion a year trade deficit with America. The middle class in this country has shrank under his watch. We've lost factory after factory under his watch. We are now, with his leadership, so-called, of the Senate Banking Committee, we've seen an absolute obliteration of local and small and regional banks. That's all happening under Sherrod Brown's watch. This is a guy who is for unfeathered immigration. He is an open borders radical. What does that do? Who does that hurt? It hurts the very people he pretends to help. These are people who are getting crushed every single day at the grocery store, at the gas station. He's all for this Green New Deal. This idea that all of us should drive an electric car, have whatever stove he tells us to, live in some small hut somewhere, while, of course, he hangs out with his buddies in Martha's Vineyard. That's who Sherrod Brown really is. Exactly, right? So one of the things that came up during this campaign I want to address is this idea that Chuck Schumer put some money in to help me. And if helping me means running really mean and horrible ads about me, but one of the things that people say, well, yeah, but he said that you were tied to Trump. Well, let me just say something. I wear with honor my endorsement of from President Trump. I wear that with a badge of honor. Because under President Trump, this nation was safer, it was more secure, we had prosperity around the world, we had generationally low interest rates, and we had generationally low inflation. Under Joe Biden, everything is objectively worse. Here's what I wonder. I wonder whether Sherrod Brown is going to wear with honor his 99% voting record with Joe Biden. Whether Joe Biden is the kind of person that he likes to associate with, because I would predict this. If Joe Biden enters Ohio, Sherrod Brown's going to fly out of here like a scared cat, right? Because he's going to try to pretend he's not with Sherrod, but he's Sherrod Brown's absolute enabler in the United States Senate. And then who does Sherrod Brown answer to? He doesn't answer to we the people. He answers to Elizabeth Warren. Right? He takes his orders. He's literally her lapdog. She tells him to bark, he says bark, he barks. That's who Sherrod Brown is, and that's who will expose him. Now, here's the good news, and here's the bad news. The good news is we're going to win this race in November. Here's the bad news. The bad news is Sherrod Brown will have all kinds of resources from every corner of America except for Ohio. Because his support in Ohio will be minuscule, but he'll have big tech, he'll have Hollywood, he'll have Wall Street, he'll have special interest groups, union bosses, not the union members. The union members are going to vote for me because they know I'm going to be the one that looks out for them and make sure that we have jobs here in Ohio, but the union bosses will be behind them. And of course, the entirety of the media will be behind them, right? In fact, I think maybe we should send a couple boxes of tissues to the Cleveland Plain Dealer tonight. What do you think? What do you think, right? But they're going to twist everything I say. You know, if I said tonight our victory was a bloodbath, oh my gosh, what they would say. But you would never say something like that because there would be a scenario in which they would twist something like that. I know you guys can't imagine that. It's true. All right. So what I'm hoping we get, and I hope we get, is at least fair treatment, although maybe that's a little too much to ask for. But look, here's a message. Here's a message I want to leave all of you with. It's March of 2024. Things seem dire in our country today. They're probably going to get a little worse over the next 7 months because you have an administration that is completely controlled by the radicals in their party. There was a time I remember when there were rational Democrats, people who you could work with. Those people may still exist, but they're controlled by the absolute extremists in their party. So for the next 7 months, you're going to see Joe Biden try to recapture that extreme position in order to keep his base. So who knows what they'll do, but it's going to be a tough next 7 months. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I believe this as much as I say I'm standing in front of you right now. We're going to win this race in November. We're going to retake the United States Senate. We're going to have President Trump in the White House. We're going to get the America First agenda done. What does that mean? Let me give you 5 things we're going to do. Number 1, we're going to have a safe and secure border where people only come into this country legally. We're never going to ask another country for energy because we're going to be an energy-dominant nation. We're going to do massive reform of our 3-letter agencies to make certain that they understand spying on Americans is unacceptable. We're going to restore, General, we're going to restore law and order in this country, aren't we? Absolutely, right? And then for you parents out there that are sending your kids to school and you're sick and tired of these schools indoctrinating your kids, by the end of next year, the Department of Education is gone. And by July 4th of 2026, we're going to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation on the face of the earth. And when we have that celebration, we're going to talk about how freedom and liberty's back, government's off our back, and I'm going to end where I started. What is this party all about? People say, I've lived the American dream. Started a tiny little car dealership with nothing. Say, that's not really, in my mind, what I view as the American dream. Where's my father-in-law? I'm going to pick on him again today. Where is he? Dennis, where are you? You're tall. There's my father-in-law right over there, Bridget's dad. All right? Dennis went to high school in Hobart, Indiana. He was born in Gary, Indiana. Graduated from high school, reported to work at U.S. Steel. By the way, did you notice the name of the company? U.S. Steel, because it's going to stay U.S. owned, all right? Goes to work there, was able to buy a home, buy a car, raise 3 kids, send them to good schools and safe communities, and he's able now to retire debt-free. That's the American dream. That's what's under assault, and that's what we're going to get back. And by July 4th of 2026, that's going to be the norm, because what we're fighting for is the future of this nation. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being such incredible supporters of my campaign. Thank you to Ohio Value Voters, too, by the way, for your early endorsement. John and Diane Stover. Are you guys ready to beat Sherrod Brown? Let's go!